A rare arrest warrant is out for a Minnesota ICE agent, the first charges to be brought against an official involved in Trump's immigration crackdown in Minnesota. Prosecutors have charged Agent Gregory Donnell Morgan Jr. with 2 counts of second-degree assault with a dangerous weapon. Morgan allegedly pointed his firearm at 2 civilians in their vehicle after they cut him off. The charges come as Minnesota officials are already investigating 17 incidents involving federal agents. That's what Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty, who brought the charges, told our colleague Jen Psaki last night. On Thursday, Moriarty made clear her office has no plans to stop investigations until justice is served.
Today's charges reflect an important milestone in our efforts to seek accountability for the harms inflicted on our community during Operation Metro Surge. We will not rest until we get the answers we seek about federal agent conduct across Hennepin County and accountability is delivered wherever appropriate.
Joining us now, Minnesota's Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, who's also running for U.S. Senate. Lieutenant Governor, thank you very much for coming to the weekend. A two-part question. One, what are you hearing from the folks in Minnesota about the immigration surges from earlier this year? And for all intents and purposes, Operation Metro Surge is over, but I am wondering, inside Minnesota, have Minnesotans noticed any kind of change? Has it ended for them?
So I think there's 2 things. One, we have been through an incredible amount of trauma, and whatever you saw on television here, it was so much worse. And so we are reckoning with that. Certainly, there's been a drawdown of ICE agents, but we also know they're still here. It's just more insidious. They have moved to rural communities and to greater Minnesota. But the trauma of all of this remains. This has been, 3 months of impact where people have experienced chaos and violence in the streets, where we now have children who will have an ACE score, an adverse childhood experience score, simply because there were federal agents in our community, and 2 Minnesotans have been killed. And so anytime we have the opportunity to pursue, justice, it should absolutely, be taken. And I think we have to take a moment to look at the bigger picture here, which is that this was also all part of, Donald Trump's immigration plan, his mass deportations, that he literally had bright red signs behind him that said mass deportations now. If you want to know what that looks like, it's what we've experienced here in Minnesota.
Yeah, I was on the RNC floor when those signs started being passed out, and that has all come to fruition. You mentioned the fatal shootings of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. There's also the non-fatal shooting of Julio Sosa Celis. Those are the 3 that we know of. The ICE-involved shootings in just January in Minneapolis. The difference between what we're seeing with Morgan Jr. and those shootings is that there's been actual accountability here, it seems, if these charges are actually true. Have you heard any updates whatsoever about the state cases that they said they were going to look into in the shootings of Renee Good and Alex Preddy specifically, despite the fact that the federal government was hampering their involvement?
Sure. So the Attorney General, the Hennepin County Attorney, the state of Minnesota, continue to investigate those cases. And that will absolutely continue into the future because Renee Good and Alex Preddy and their families and Minnesotans deserve justice. But it, of course, continues to be hampered by the fact that the federal government, the DOJ, is not cooperating or working in partnership with the state, which is, frankly, again, that's rare. And, we know that we will continue to pursue this, but we also know that the DOJ needs to work in partnership with us. A federal judge has recently ordered that some of that evidence, to review it, some of that evidence needs to be reviewed by the judge and needs to be turned over to the judge. And so, this work continues, but it's hard when you have an adversary who is refusing partnership. And that has been, consistently what we have seen from this administration.
Lieutenant Governor, I want to get your response on some news that happened this week. MS Now reported that Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons has resigned from his job. He's going to remain in his role until May 31st, but the circumstances surrounding his departure are not immediately clear. What's your interpretation of how his departure is going to impact the composition of the department as is?
So I think it doesn't matter who is in, the role or who the folks who are serving, right? We've seen, several folks depart. But the fact remains is that, Donald Trump and Stephen Miller continue to enact, right, their mass deportation strategy. And the thing is that we know, the very first vote under the second Trump administration was for the Laken Riley Act, which to, Donald Trump's, and his DHS has said that 21,000 people have been detained due to the Laken Riley Act. And for your viewers, if they don't know what that is an act essentially that strips immigrants of due process and allows for indefinite detention for both adults and also for children. And unfortunately, there were a lot of Democrats who empowered this president to take that vote, including, my primary opponent, Congresswoman Angie Craig. And so it was not a secret what was coming. This is what we are dealing with. And now we need folks who are willing to rip ICE apart, to start over and make sure that we have immigration policy that is grounded in actual safety, of course, securing our borders, but making sure that dignity is part of this and that we are not building warehouses to keep thousands of people, including, children and families. So it is time for us to do everything that we can. And if people look to Minnesota, what I want them to know is that we are not powerless. We have the ability to push back, to organize, and that everybody who can in these positions, Hennepin County Attorney, Attorneys General, should be taking advantage and prosecuting as many of these folks as possible. We deserve justice and not a lawless group of thugs under Donald Trump doing whatever they want and hurting people across this country.
Minnesota Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, thank you so much for coming back to The Weekend.